Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds his fiancée cheating on him with her best friend a week before their engagement party. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I, 31 male, had been in a toxic relationship before, so meeting my baby girl was a breath of fresh air. She, 26, was a terrific girlfriend, and you know the gist. We loved each other like we've been together forever. My friends couldn't stop telling me how I got super lucky this time. My best friend even joked that she was an angel. I thought so too. I met her family, and they made me feel like I was already a part of them. Mine couldn't stop singing praises of her while calling out the difference between her and my ex. She was better in character and prettier too. Everyone took to her fast, and they warned me not to let the hurt from my past interfere with the beautiful relationship I now had. As if I didn't know that. There wasn't even much from the past relationship that troubled me. She was erasing the hurt one after the other. In our 3rd year together, I gave her a ring over dinner and asked her to marry me. She agreed and then demanded I do a better job at asking for her lifetime commitment. And so the preparation for our big engagement party began. Everyone was excited, and they all took it upon themselves to help out in the preparation. Not that there was much to do. The girl of the day had gotten a party planner to set things in motion. All that was left was her clothes. One of my friends, a pro fashion designer, offered to make them, but she politely turned down the offer. According to her, her best friend, who was also a good fashion designer, promised to make her dresses for a cheap fee, not that money was a problem. I hated her friend not because he did anything wrong. I just didn't like the way he hugged my baby girl, pecked her on the cheek, threw his arm around her waist, and other irritating acts of familiarity he did. He didn't like me either. We had a showdown where he claimed I wasn't good enough for his friend. Maybe I wasn't, but I was willing to work hard to be just what she needed. In the end, we suppressed our hatred for one mutual reason: our love for my baby girl. He came over to my house to take her measurement. We were staying together until the party was over. The process irritated me to no end. Those moments when his fingers lingered around her chest and when he took ages to adjust the tape around her waist. After he left, I spoke about my grievance and she laughed over it and assured me it was nothing. She claimed her friend was a decent young man who went the extra mile to do a great job, but he certainly didn't look like a decent young man. I was a guy and I could identify a decent man. When I insisted that her judgment was wrong, she asked me if this was how our marriage would be. Me trying to sabotage her friendship just because I felt insecure. Immediately, I apologized to her and consoled myself with the fact that she was mine, not her best friend's. Whatever he felt towards her would never come to reality. A few days later, she informed me she was going for a fitting session. When she returned home later that day, she told me there was a little mistake in one of the 3 dresses, so she would return for another fitting session once it was fixed. This became a recurrent story. Her friend's fashion house became her second home. Almost every day, she went there for fittings. When I couldn't take it anymore, I called her out for choosing to employ her friend's service when he was not the professional she claimed he was. She went livid and warned me to stay out of her friendship. We never brought up her dress issue again. A week before the party, I came home at night and met her sister, who told me she had left for her friends for another fitting. I decided to drive down to the place. Something told me there was nothing wrong with her dress. She was probably just fussing over it to make it over perfect. When I got there, the sign on the front glass said closed. The lights were off, but the window shades were up, which meant that someone was inside. I walked in and saw her and her friend coddling and fondling each other intimately. Surprisingly, I wasn't shocked. Maybe my subconscious mind had already anticipated this. I just stood there, watching her scramble for coverage while her friend leaned against the counter with a proud smile on his face. When she was half covered, she turned to me and began to cry that the situation wasn't what I thought it was. So I asked her to explain what it was, and she couldn't give a coherent response, so I left. She tried to run after me, but I heard her friend tell her to get dressed first. I entered my car and zoomed off while berating myself for taking this long to find out who she was. When I arrived home, I told her sister about my finding, and she got so mad, even madder than I was. She kept saying, "Not again." I didn't get the chance to ask her what she meant because she left not long after. Afterwards, I called her dad and told him what I saw. I could tell her parents were heartbroken and ashamed. They told me she had destroyed 2 relationships before this one with her infidelity, but they thought this was different. So that's where I'm at now. Screw me. Update. It's been a year since that terrible night, and I've made peace with the betrayal. I joined a couple of support groups, and they were very helpful. I ran into her 5 months ago, and she had an earful of explanations to give. Most of it boiled down to her insane point. She was bored. What a crazy reason to cheat on someone who loved you. She even dared to argue that it wasn't cheating since she wasn't in love with her friend. She proposed counseling like I would get back with her to save my life. I told her I would rather live in a swine than accept her. She got angry and told me if I didn't want her, I should at least go and tell her family that she didn't cheat on me. They had refused to talk with her until she made them believe her claims of innocence. Yes, she had lied to her family that she was innocent, but they knew it was a lie because this was not the first time she had been caught cheating. I told her that hell would freeze over before I did anything in her favor. She attempted to publicly embarrass me by shouting that I was mistreating her, but I revealed to the small crowd she had attracted that she had cheated on me. I even offered to call her parents as witnesses. When she realized I was serious, she fled from the scene. I haven't seen her since then, and I hope I never see her again. I also hope you never see your ex again, OP. She's an awful serial cheat who refuses to take responsibility for her actions. She keeps deluding herself that she isn't a cheat. This is probably one of the reasons why she'll continue to cheat. A cheater has to acknowledge and come to terms with who they are and take responsibility for their actions if they ever want to try to change their ways. And the fact that she's expecting you to still be in one place waiting for her just proves how delusional she is. I'm glad you didn't get married to her. I'm sorry your relationship ended the way it did, but on the bright side, at least you know now when to trust what your partner says and when not. You also know to follow your instincts. I hope that when you put yourself out there again, you'll find the one for you. Good luck, OP. Story 2. My partner of 8 years, male-female in their early 30s, wants to open our mostly strictly monogamous relationship. I'm very monogamous. She tells me she feels stifled that she doesn't have the freedom she desires to express herself emotionally and sexually with other people. She also tells me that I'm the one she wants to spend the rest of her life with, procreate, grow old, and generally be my primary. And so I shouldn't feel threatened by this. I feel like this is really a descriptive rather than prescriptive boundary she has set for herself for the present time, with future intent. And opening up to the dynamics of emotional intimacy with a third party will necessarily mean pushing on this boundary. Therefore, I do feel threatened and unsafe. Even if it were prescriptive, I feel unsafe because our current boundary of de facto monogamy is too limiting for her. So I feel like any such prescriptive boundary will eventually get discarded. Rationally, I don't think it's right to feel possessive about your partner, but at the same time, I don't feel like I have any way of emotionally coping with what she wants to do. I would feel humiliation, anger, fear, etc. I'm sure you all know. I can't see myself ever feeling compressed without it just being a self-delusion to maintain our relationship. I've used the term cuckolding to describe this in times of anger. We're still deeply in love with each other, we get along very well, and every year I find myself even more in love. I don't regret a moment spent with her. But we do have a lot of other problems, like she'll be undergoing major surgery at the end of the month with probably at least 6 weeks of recovery time. She's been going through a lot of disabling symptoms that basically mean I've been doing a lot of taking care of her, cleaning, making meals, etc. Although now she needs it due to illness, I feel like I always have pulled more than my fair share of both lifestyle sacrifice. We are living away from my family and close to hers, and household chores. So all of this is making it even more difficult for me to face. Another big problem for me is that we generally have a wide mismatch in libido. Mine is higher, contrary to the poly stereotype. Although all the talking we've been doing has brought a bit of spark back somehow. I'm fine with my needs going mostly unmet because I understand partners can't meet every need. But the idea that the one time a week she feels like she's in the mood she'll be off with someone else is brutal. Even if I see the benefits of the increased drive as a result, it still feels very painful. At some level, polyamory and monogamy has always been an issue for us, but we've kept it monogamous for 8 years. It comes up every couple of years and we talk through it but resolve nothing. I always want to wait before confronting this demon, because I can see no rational way through, and so I wait. She wants to marry me, and her family can think of nothing more important for their own lives than to see her wed. But I could never bring myself to do it with this looming over us. I could tell it was bothering her more than usual, so I told her I wanted to wait until after her recovery, ostensibly so I could support her without being an emotional wreck or just plain angry. But she insisted on opening the can of worms now. She wouldn't put it this way because she sees emotional connection on a continuum and not in black and whites. But I think it's because she and a friend of ours have mutually expressed romantic and sexual, still not certain how to describe what she wants really, interest in each other, and now things are possible. She wants us both to visit the friends next week. I like the guy. I've known him as long as I've known her, but I feel almost intruded upon by knowing that he knows all of our dirty laundry now. I have no idea how to talk to him or even like him, even though he's done nothing wrong. So I guess after all that ranting, when is it time to give up? When is incompatibility too much to handle? I don't think I would ever be happy if she practiced polyamory. She tells me she's not happy knowing that she has to bottle up her feelings and quash part of her personality indefinitely. I know we can be happy and joyful when we're together, but I know it cannot be enough. She's a very honest person and she's never cheated. So at least I can say I'm fortunate in that I don't have to deal with the deceit of infidelity. But I still feel all the emotional turmoil. Also fortunate that we have no kids and that we're unmarried. Although we have lived together for most of the 8 years and she's financially dependent on me. OP, very easy to say this from the outside, but you've got to find someone more compatible with you. Staying with this girl will only cause you more pain and anxiety. If you've talked about it several times over the years, it means she isn't ready for you, and only you. In a compatible relationship, you would find someone that can fulfill your needs and do it willingly. It's what makes the love between two people stronger. I'm very sorry you feel the pain and anxiety of a person you love not returning the favor. Do not guilt her into feeling bad about how her feelings make you sad, as she may temporarily soothe the pain and kick the can down the road further. OP, please find someone else. Tell your SO she's free to do as she pleases, so you can go on doing what you want to do with your love life, which is to give yourself fully and completely without fear or anxiety. To allow yourself to be vulnerable and know that it will never hurt you. Now for some comments. From my personal experience and from reading Reddit, I can guarantee that she already has someone else lined up. I would say that the odds are very high that she's already sleeping with him. Also, from personal experience, there's about a 50% chance that if you start seeing another woman, she'll flip right out. She already is cheating emotionally, especially with her friend. Even if she doesn't have feelings for a single person, she has feelings of desire, lust, after others. By definition, she's already cheating. If you really have talked it out with her over all years more than once, then I'm sorry, this isn't gonna work. She doesn't want just you, she wants others. Time to move on to someone who isn't like this. She is going to cheat, and might have already physically and sexually. If I was in your shoes, I would walk away for a couple reasons. First, I'm mono like yourself. I couldn't sit around knowing the woman I love is being intimate with someone else. I also couldn't accept that I work 40 hours plus a week, clean, cook, and caretaker to her, while she sits at home talking to or looking for other partners. Also, if I was not getting near to the amount of sex I need, I wouldn't be happy with her having it with others. She loves you. She wants to spend the rest of her life with you. But of course she does. You do and provide a majority to everything for her. If you left, what would she do? Where would she go, and how would she have money? I would leave her. You'll fall in love again, and maybe this time with someone who contributed equally.